Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to try a cooking video. This is just standard outdoor cooking. Could be done in a campfire or in a camper. Could be done in your apartment. But we'll give something a try, shall we? So how many of you have been to some place like Mongolian Grill or one of the other places where you can kind of mix up your own food and they'll cook it for you right there in front of you? So this is a noodle dish. You could do it with udon. You could do it with any noodle, really. Just cook them up first in the pot of boiling water, and then we'll throw it all together at the end. Nice part about something like this is you can throw anything in there you might happen to have. So here I've got some chicken tenders. You could use chicken breast. If you had some leftovers from a previous dinner, that'd be perfect for this. Steak would go good in here. Seafood. Nice part, you can kind of throw anything in here you want. You want vegetarian? Tofu goes great in here. You can also do just vegetables. Sauteed peppers and onions, broccoli, snow peas, whatever you happen to have. You wouldn't have to use the grill either. I just happen to like the way it makes things taste. Never seems to matter how much oil I put down on here. It's never quite enough. If you're doing chicken or pork, you want to make sure that you cook it far enough to make it safe. There we go. Over here on the side, let me see if you can actually see it. Yeah, sort of. Over here on the side, I'm just heating up some water for the pasta. A little bit of salt. For the chicken, using roasted garlic and herb from the Weber set. You could use anything you wanted. I might throw a little salt on here too, but just trying to get a little flavor. Remember, when you're cooking on a grill, a large part of whatever you throw on here, if you don't pat it in, is going to fall off when you flip it over, so it's okay to overspice. There we go. Just let it run for a little while. See you in a second. So what I'm using is fettuccine noodles here. You could use anything you've got. You could use elbows. Just grab some here. The biggest thing when you're cooking pasta, you just want to make sure you got enough water to cover it. Ready to go here. Drop that in there. And let that heat up for a little bit. Let's check on the chicken. Alright. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. So, if you're using a temperature probe or a thermometer for this, you want to go to 160. You could go a little bit lower than that in something like this, mainly because I'm going to be giving it a little extra push when I drop it in the wok. These little guys, they're just snacks for the chef. Alright. Fold these in a little bit. Once you get them effectively in the pot, then we can start timing them. So for something like this, I like to go a little past al dente. So I tend to run 14-15 minutes on my pasta. If you're going to spend a little more time in the pan after the fact, or if you're going to try to cook it in the sauce to try to get a little extra flavor in it, you might want to go more in the 11 to 12 minute range. Getting there. So I'm just going to kind of push on these and see when they're done. These are pretty close already. That one needs a little bit more. So the way you can sometimes tell, and I would only recommend this if you're the one eating it and it's not going to be, someone else's health isn't going to be dependent on you, or if you got a lot of experience with it. If you press on it and it's pretty spongy still, it's going to be underdone. If you press on it and it's more solid, like this one back here, it's pretty close. So I might throw this one up a little closer up here, and we'll move something else toward the back. Obviously, the smaller your piece, the faster it's going to get done. The larger it is, the longer it might take. There we go, we're boiling pretty good over here. There we are. Push those down in there, give them a little stir. Perfect. Okay. Turn that down just a little bit. Go ahead and set our timer. There we go. See you in a... This is why I love living in the country. How many places that you live do you get to see a sunset like that in the process of cooking? Always worth it. That ought to work. Got some good coloring on it. Now you certainly could take a sauce of some kind and brush these down, get a little caramelization on them. I'm not terribly worried about that at the moment. Okay, there's our chicken. Let that cool just a little bit so I don't burn my fingers. Okay. Let me bring you around here so you can see what's going on. I took the noodles off the heat. I'm just going to let them finish off their last couple of minutes just sitting in the hot water. You certainly could continue to boil them for a little while, and if you needed to store the noodles after the fact, you can add a little bit of oil to them once they're drained. That'll help keep them from sticking to each other. Obviously, this particular dish would go a little bit faster if I had pre-made the noodles, but it's alright, no big deal. When you're using a wok, and I apologize for anyone who really knows how to use a wok, but you just want to make sure it's nice and hot before you go throwing things into it. I like using these non-stick versions. I can use metal utensils in here. It tends to work really well. I don't have to worry too much about the cleaning process after the fact, but I know a proper wok is stainless steel or carbon steel. Drop a little vegetable oil of your choice down in here. There we go. You can use anything. I know the smoke point on avocado oil is a little bit higher, so if you're worried about that, you can certainly try that one. I like just regular old canola. So I'm going to drop some red peppers. Some green pepper. And some onion in here. These are going to cook down quite a bit, that's why I throw them in first. Going to add the golden triad of salt, pepper, and garlic. I like sea salt in my food. Don't need a lot of this. I'm going to be adding a sauce to this later that has a lot of the flavor in it. So this is just to add a little extra to them. There we go. Now you could definitely drop a lid on this if you wanted to, if you wanted them a little bit softer. Remember though, when you're cooking like this, you really want to get the moisture out of this stuff as much as you can. I personally like my veggies a little crisp, so I'm not going to overcook them. So the onions are already starting to caramelize and cook down a little bit. Peppers are taking a little bit longer. You can see here we're starting to make the transition. I'm going to add some sliced mushrooms, something small. You don't need full portobello for this. These are baby bella mushrooms, but you could use pretty much anything, buttons. Little morels, whatever you might have. So I know it looks like I dropped a lot of oil in there to begin with. But you can see it's already been taken up. I'm going to add a little bit more here. The other benefit to using a non-stick pan like this, if you want to, you can use a lot less oil than you would otherwise. But oil's flavor. Why would we forego that if we can avoid it? There we go. Now the other thing you could do with this if you wanted, bacon grease. Yes, I bought all my ingredients pre-cut. You could certainly cut them up yourself. It works a little better if you cut things ahead of time. So if you do want to do this, things tend to move pretty quick once it starts heating up. So I would definitely recommend do all your prep work ahead of time. It'll save you some headache when you're at this stage. There we go. Also got some broccoli flowerets here. You want to add these in pretty late if you want them to stay green and bright. Just going to leave those sitting on top for a little bit. Let them benefit from the steam coming up from underneath. I'll go ahead and add the chicken back in here pretty soon. I'm just going to pull this apart into small chunks. You can see here we're definitely done. I like to add my chicken back in right at the end. If you leave it in here too long, it's going to dry out. Obviously, if you don't have it pre-cooked like I did here, then you'd want to put it in first and make sure that you gave it enough time to properly cook in the pan. There we go. Add a little more oil to it. Okay, I think they're about ready. I'm going to go drain my noodles and bring them over. I'm going to drop them in here, get the sauce in, and just do one final mix and we'll be ready to go. There we are. Okay. Before I add the sauce, I got one more thing to throw in here. Got some snap peas. Again, I like to add these right at the end so they keep some of their crisp to them. And the sauce that I'm using is sriracha teriyaki. Make sure you can see that. There we go. So you could use any sauce. You could use a sweet chili sauce. You could use regular teriyaki, something you mix up yourself. Pretty much anything will work in here. It's just a matter of what do you like. Don't need a whole lot. There we go. Just going to stir that all together. have it. Let's get this plated up, shall we? There we are. Drop some green onion on top of it. And a handful of peanuts. I'm not allergic. If you're going to do this over the pot, make sure that nobody is allergic. Okay, let's get you moved into position and see what this is like. There we are. Chicken and noodles. With a bit of an Asian flair to it. Relatively healthy dish. Minus all the oil I threw in there. Hope you enjoy the food you're able to cook and the places you're able to do it. I'll see you over the next horizon.